Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Yeah.
We have Hogarth here today. Welcome, Hogarth.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for being
much.
here.
Glad to be back. Glad to be back. Let me just turn my volume up to make sure I can hear you clearly. Yeah.
My viewers are always happy when you are here, so this is awesome. And I know
Lovely.
some of my viewers know this, but tomorrow I'm having surgery on my sinuses and my septum, and hopefully that'll just get under control but I'll be kind of puffy and swollen for a few days. So members, I pre-taped the videos and all of you sent in your questions to me. So I will make some videos later tonight so you can have some videos for when I'm recuperating. So we have a
Mhm.
lot to cover. Oh my goodness. So much to talk about. So we decided we're going to end with talking about August 13th. And we're going to start with talking about Fox News
Oh,
because there is so much energy with them. They keep changing their minds, they're going back and forth. So we know things are brewing there. And I know you had some insights. So, what are you seeing with Fox?
well, with Fox, Foxtrot, that's my nickname for Fox because
I
really,
love it.
actually, technically, because
I
they've
love
been
it.
taking people on, dancing people down various garden paths now for a long time. And what some people may not know, in terms of the actual official listing of Fox, they're not
Mm,
actually registered as a news channel. They're registered as entertainment, an
yes.
entertainment channel. So of course this was put together by Rupert Murdoch and stuff. And I actually did you may know already, but I did a bit of a special on Fox
Yes.
News. I think it was like last week, and already some of that, I just find it so interesting that they're there. Now, what's interesting with Fox is that they are a Scorpio company. You know how I'm always talking
Mm,
about the first house and all that stuff, and I've got literally
hmm
here, you guys would have seen this, but if we look here, this is the first house, which is so important, and you will see, maybe it won't focus, it depends, but look, that's Pluto. Yeah.
hmm
Pluto represents the eighth house on his own. So what's the eighth house? We all know this. It's the house of what? Sex, death, and rock and roll. Actually, I've not actually got that little thing up. Do I have it up? Actually, I do. Let me just go here, just so we can remind ourselves. So what does it deal with? So this is the essence of what Fox is about, because
hmm
Scorpio is the eighth sign, so it's relative to the eighth house already.
hmm
And Pluto is relative to the eighth house on its own. So they've got Scorpio and Pluto in the first house, which is about the
Wow.
personality, presentation, how we come across. So what does the eighth house deal with? It deals with transformation, it deals with traumas, it deals with will, it deals with surrender, but it also deals with life insurance, it deals with
Hmm.
psychology, it deals with addictions. It
Oh, and
deals
don't
with,
their viewers get addicted?
yeah,
They're addicted. It's not normal like when you just watch other news stations, right? Like they're loyal.
yeah, they really, really are. They really,
Hmm
really are. For some reason, my light on my camera is going in and out. I don't. Maybe it's just my phone, but
Oh, I didn't
um.
notice.
Oh, okay, no problem. So yes, so it deals with addictions. It deals with
Hmm
disgrace. It deals with bankruptcy. Yeah. It deals with
Oh boy.
inheritance and taxes, money from others, but it also deals with corruption. Now, there are positive sides to the eighth house, like, psychology, astrology,
Sure.
kundalini, and metaphysics and stuff like that. But obviously, Fox are going to that darker side. So really, what happens is that it's like you said, the Fox viewers, it's almost like they're having an addiction. What is going on with my camera? It's sort of kind of, the light is kind of going
It
in and
must
out
be
like
the
that.
energy. Let me just say thank you to Kelser for your donation. Thank you so much. When you guys donate, I always share it with my guest. And the
Thank you.
last time I did a live by myself, I actually donated it with one of my viewers. She had sent me this picture of these beautiful like mandalas that she makes, but she's on a fixed income. And so she needed, you know, like she was saying, you know, I'd like to make more, but I don't have enough money for the embroidery floss. Well, she's all set with embroidery floss.
Oh, that's sweet of you. That's so sweet. And thank you, everyone who
Yes.
donates. Just so you know, you guys may not be able to see this, but my screen is getting lighter and darker,
See,
lighter and
I'm
darker.
not seeing it. It's the planets.
Yeah,
You're channeling them.
something's going on. I think that's what it is. So this gives you an idea. So essentially, part of the shadow of Pluto, or a big part of it, is manipulation.
Mm, mm-mm.
Pluto is about dark money, dark power, and it really is about those power games, those power struggles. But it's
Yeah.
also as well, it is about transformation. So really what is Fox News as an enterprise is always trying to adapt itself, transform itself to reflect almost like the darkest fantasies of their viewers and reflect that back to them. And that is a big part of what they're about.
Yep.
And by doing that, they have this tremendous control and manipulation and this psychological grip over their viewers, to the extent where you now have people literally, when they're being told, look, I'm sorry, you're
Brainwashed.
positive, you know, with COVID, they're like, no, it's impossible, it's a hoax, this, that, and the other. And then of course they end up, you know, transitioning, let's put it that way. So I just
Right.
thought you might find that interesting,
Oh
Diane.
my
There's a lot
gosh.
of control and manipulation there.
Yeah, and we just keep seeing them change their minds. So like we know that they had their employees vaccinated and that they were encouraging that. And so, and even when, you know, I guess with the ones that aren't vaccinated, they're still doing the testing. And so that tells you that they completely believe in it. They're not
Mm-hmm.
thinking it's a hoax, they're not downplaying it. It's actually company policy to test people, which is not what they're showing to the rest of the world. So that's really like double faced there, two faced, you know?
Absolutely. It's
Uh,
complete hypocrisy, and it's so dangerous what they're doing. Pluto is
it
about
is.
danger, it's about intensity. It's almost like there is a kind of a thrill, a kind of high, a rush that they get on being able to push it as close as possible. Because the thing is, the eighth house does deal with, that's why I call it the house of sex, death, and rock and roll. It does deal a lot with death, but it also deals with Pluto as well, can, along with Neptune, can represent cults as well. Very, very
See,
intense,
that's what we're
dark.
seeing, isn't it? It
Yeah.
it is cult like. I mean, for something that's just supposed to be a news station, even though we know it's
Mhm.
entertainment, they have this cult like following, which never sat right with me, especially when you listen to how their viewers talk and how extreme they get. But
Oh, yeah.
should we pull some cards on Foss?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
And let me just say thank you to Catherine, Jean, and a big thank you to Yanti. Thank you so much. And Yanti, I did get your very nice email. Thank you.
Yeah. Fox News. Piece of work. It was very interesting, though, seeing one of their presenters the other day advocate for vaccinations, because, you know, they've obviously worked out, they're looking at the litigation and legal exposure now, because
Wow.
they've obviously been telling people for a long time
Wow.
not
You
to
know,
take vaccines. So,
these cards are insane. I'm actually just going to like pull them straight from the deck because you can't make this up.
oh,
So
oh,
wow. So yeah,
gosh,
I mean, are your cards like just as I mean these are
oh,
just like you can't. So I want people to see that I'm pulling these straight from the deck.
oh my
So
goodness.
okay, they're in for a ruthless battle. There is so much going on, things that we don't know about, things that are coming up, and they're going to be in for a fight. Look at what their obstacle is. You know, here we are talking about how they're cult like, and you look at the two characters down below, they're chained. And instead of freeing themselves of the devil because their chains are loose, they instead start to grow horns and tails because they're identifying with the devil. And so they do have this, you know, real cult like following that just isn't normal or healthy. But look at this, the card of like complete loss. losing
Wow.
your job, losing your money, losing your home, your health, your well-being, followed by the card of heartbreak and heartache. So
Wow.
there is, oh geez, and then the further I go out, my God, the card of feeling stuck and like a victim. And we often see that with these people, that they do feel like victims, even though that's not how we
Yeah,
see it.
they're the perpetrators. Yeah.
And then this, to me, this has like such a legal feel to it. This is the Judgment
Mhm.
card. I do
Mhm.
think they are going to go through a rebirth and renewal. They're going to end up looking so different when everything is said and done. I don't think, like a few years from now, I don't think they're going to be this cult-like thing.
No.
And oh geez, wow, the more I go out. So here they are all alone, losing their supporters, and they are going to court. There is something judicial going on here. I mean, this is just
Yeah.
wild.
Mhm.
Wow. Thank you so
Wow.
much, Betty. Thanks, Betty. Oh, thanks, Warrior Girl. Oh, you
Let
guys
me
are
just.
so kind. I have the
I just
best
dropped
viewers.
something. Wow. I mean,
How
there we are.
are your cards
Maybe.
is like equally devastating? I didn't expect that.
I mean, it's like, so I picked 5 cards. So so here we are. This is indicative of where things are going. Look at
Oh,
that.
see?
Boom.
More major
Tower
arcana. Yep.
moment. There is going to be a big change, and what I'll do is I'll let you into a little secret. So as you know, I've recently started a membership, and I've been doing
Mm.
um, basically going deep into certain people's charts that we know that is more difficult, shall we
Oh,
say, on YouTube. Do you know what I mean? Certain things.
yes.
And I looked at the chart of Tucker Carlson. Now, at some point,
Oh.
I may reveal this, but I'll have to see what happens. But I think it's around about, let me just check the date 1 second, just to let you know. So on the 19th of January, no, on the 17th of January 2022, so next
Mm-hmm.
year,
Mm-hmm.
Tucker Carlson is going to go into his Saturn Mahadasha, which is balloon popper. His
Oh,
life is
okay.
going to change. And in
Mm-hmm.
his main chart, his Saturn is debilitated. So that's not good. So there's stuff coming down the pipeline. Again, I can't say all because I go really deep into certain things. That's for the membership. But at some point, I
Right.
may release that. So here we see, of course, a tower moment potentially coming. I think they have realized this already. And this is why they're changing tack, because they understand now that this is very much pinned on them. These
Mm-hmm.
infection rates, and you can imagine as the deaths increase,
Mm-hmm.
look what I got here as well.
That's your second card too. So both of our second
Second
cards
card.
are the devil.
Look at that. It's the devil. So again, it's it's the same thing. They've become this kind of cult, this channel of
Yep.
darkness in many ways, with
Yep.
their presenters kind of almost hypnotizing their audience. But this is also shows that they're completely morally bankrupt.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's this kind of almost kind of psychological destitution. It's this extreme addictions, almost pathology. Pathology. They're pathological.
It's
And
scary.
if we look at these kind of almost frothing at the mouth rantings from the likes of Tucker Carlson and then you've got Laura, what's her face, Ingram,
Oh,
who's
yeah.
also slinging in her bile and poison. It's becoming obvious. When we look
Right.
at the next card, the death card. Look at that. So here
Wow.
I've got it reversed. So in a way, this is like trying to hold on, but to an inevitable end. I think they've just realized the tide is turning, but it's a little bit late to be having one of your presenters say, oh, by the way, go and get the vaccine. When that's since the whole thing began, which is like 18 months or so now, they've just
Right.
been preaching this sort of devilish message. When we look
Mm-hmm.
here, the full reverse, they've been foolhardy, it's been foolish, been a fool's errand, because at the end of the day, for some reason, they've not thought, oh, if we keep saying this and people die.
Oh. Let's see. Did we lose Hogarth? Let me just check here. I think we did. Okay, well, you know what? Sometimes that happens, and I suspect it has to do with the extreme heat.
You know what that's about?
Oh
It's
my
because we're
gosh.
talking about the powers. Do you see that was a psh,
It
they're trying to
happens
cut out this
every time, doesn't it? It's like when you and I were talking to my members and we were talking about QAnon and the real roots of it. And all of a sudden I'm like black and swirling and yeah. Mm-hmm.
so here
You
we
can't
are.
tell,
So we
you
know
can't make this up. Right. So you're hitting
can't
the
make
nail
this
on the
up.
head.
Exactly. Can't make this up. So when we look here as well, we have got the Eight of Wands reversed. So, in a way, it's kind of like on one level, this could represent that they almost it's tough for them to turn around because they have been talking about they've been on this rhetoric for so long. But this can
Right.
also show as well things going wrong, particularly with the business, things not kind of working out. When the Eight of Wands is the right way around, things of course are moving forward at pace, be it good or bad, it means forward action. Here it's
Right.
almost like when I look at this card, I'm I'm thinking of like Fox head decision makers. It's almost like they are wondering, shall we change direction? But now they're really not sure because they've been going in one direction for so long. It's very hard for them
It's
to
hard to
turn it
reverse.
around because it's kind of like saying, well, everything we said was just made up. Don't believe anything we've been
Right.
saying for the last 18 months. It was just a flight of fancy. So
No
they're in a tricky
credibility.
position. Yeah, none whatsoever.
Oh wow, that's just crazy. So I mean, it's
And we got
amazing
the
though how
same
much
card.
like yeah, we're getting similar cards, major arcana, really powerful. I want to just give a shout out and thank you to Marjorie, Candy, Blue Mountain Tarot, and this is I hope I say it right, Mariana Sabia. Thank you for your donations, everybody. That's so
Oh,
kind. I
thanks so much.
know. Oh my goodness. Okay, so what should we look at next? I keep getting asked about the January 6th committee. So
Oh,
as you
yeah,
probably know, so the Republicans they blocked a bill that would have created an independent commission, but Nancy Pelosi did her thing, and so
yeah.
they have one, and she recently didn't allow in two of the Republicans, Jim Jordan and Banks, and so Kevin McCarthy's now really upset. But they the words that they're using, the rhetoric that they're preaching, shows that they don't even believe in this. I mean, these are the sort of people that think that it was just tourists, right?
Which
And
is just,
they don't believe it though. I shouldn't say that they believe it. They're just trying to spew this nonsense.
mm,
So I thought if we could maybe just take a look at the January 6th committee that Nancy Pelosi's leading, see how
yeah.
they're doing, see where they're going. Um, I think
Absolutely, and but she has appointed Liz Cheney, hasn't she? If I understand, is that
Let's,
correct?
because I saw both of them were commenting a lot. I know that it was Nancy that really put her foot down on those two, and it's nice too that Liz Cheney was backing up Nancy Pelosi with all of this.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Liz Cheney, she's got some. When I check, she's got some plans. She's keeping her powder dry, as we would say. I think it's the same in the States. I think she's keeping her powder dry, and it would not surprise me if she were to spearhead maybe even a third party or some kind of break off something from the Republicans, because the
mm-hmm.
GOP as it stands is so cra now. It's kind of like it's a cult, like we've been saying for ages. It's a cult. It really is just a cult.
It is. It's just
So
so.
the commission, January 6th commission. All right. We pull 5 cards. Sorry, I should have done this already. January
This is interesting.
commission.
So you can see that a lot's going on with it. That's for sure. I mean, right now, I'm going to say they're feeling pretty good. The card of like peace, love, and happiness.
Oh,
So,
mhm.
so right now things are pretty good. I picked a couple of cards for their obstacles because the first card I got was this tower moment. And I was like, well, what's the tower moment about? And we get our Russian friend again. So doesn't that just say it all? Oh my gosh. So here we
Mhm.
are right back to the Republicans trying to get away with it. You know, they're stealing 5 of the 7 swords and they're looking over their shoulder to make sure they can get away with it. And you know what? It's not happening. Obviously, this is something judicial. This is going to court. And you know what? It's also fair and balanced, which I guess apparently that used to be a saying of Fox News, something like fair and balanced. I didn't know that, because someone said, you know, I wish you wouldn't say that. And I looked it up, and like they stopped using it 4 years ago. But I was like, you know, that's what it means when you see the double-sided swords like he's holding. And I was like, okay, that's weird. But, you know, this is how they end up celebrating a milestone. So, you know what? Yeah, it's going to go to court. Things are going to, you know, happen, but it's all going to be good. Wow. I just want to say thank you to, we got some really generous, we're getting very generous donations tonight.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you so much.
So thank you so much, Mark and Janny. Thank you so much, Whispering Spirit. We really appreciate it, guys. Right. What did you get?
Oh, well, I've got quite a juicy mix here. So first off, this may not be necessarily the most optimistic card that you want me to pull out for this commission, but look, we have got here the 5 of Pentacles. Now, when I look at this for me is almost what the Republicans would like to happen to this commission. It's almost as if they want to starve it. Yeah, because remember, they, of course, when it was initially done, it was supposed to be, of course, impartial, bipartisan, and all that kind of stuff. And of course, they didn't want that, because then, of course, you would arrive at the truth much quicker.
God forbid.
So now, what they want to be able to do is they want to be able to say, "Oh, this is a democratic witch hunt. It's bipartisan." They're trying to say it's impoverished, that it's not. It's not going to yield results. Right. Yeah, so that's almost like their attitude there. Now, why don't they want this commission to go ahead? It's because they understand it's going to put them in a difficult place. And this can also, as well, in many ways, when I look at this card, it also does make me think a little bit of Nancy Pelosi, in the sense of someone trying to navigate very tricky circumstances.
And it is tricky.
It's very, very tricky. I'm not saying she's necessarily feels like a victim, but if we see this at the obstacle card, she understands that many people are trying to what? Tie her hands and blindfold her. So if we think of this as the commission itself, it's almost, again, this is what the Republicans want to do: bind it up, stymie it in some way. However, there's too much interest in the outcome. So all of these things, eventually things are going to burst through, and the passion of the commission and wanting to initiate and move things forward, I think, will take over. Because as we know, all the aces are very confirmatory, you know, they're very positive. And I think it's going to build up a head of steam. And what's that going to be about? Look at that.
Oh my gosh. Like, and we don't like, you didn't even know half the questions I was asking. So
yeah, look at that. I mean, it's remarkable. What's it about? Russia. Yeah.
Always.
All of that stuff is all coming out. And this is why the Republicans are trying so hard to bring this energy in. Yeah. They want to stymie it. They want to cut the funding. They want to put as many obstacles in place as possible so that people don't focus on this stuff here. But if we look at the outcome, temperance, balance.
Perfect.
So again, kind of like with your law card, eventually, in the end, everyone's going to have to weigh everything up and just be, look, these are just the facts. So we will arrive at balance at some point. There you go.
Wow. It's amazing how much synchronicity there is when we read together.
Always, when we read, isn't it? It's like...
It's insane. And your tarot skills are just like going off the chart, you know, for someone who was like such an astrologer and you was like in your own little niche. And it's like, now you're branching out. And
thank you. Well, it's a bit of practice. I mean, I must confess, I mean, I have been interested in the tarot for a long time. So it's always been bubbling in the background, but you give me inspiration, and as I've done little things on your channel, it's given me more confidence.
Oh.
But it's amazing how it can synchronize with the astrology as well. So, yeah,
That,
thank you.
it was so interesting the first time I had you on my channel, because I was like, nobody does this. Nobody integrates astrology and tarot. I've never seen it done before. No one else was doing it. And you know what? It worked. It just worked.
Thank you. I think it's going to be much more common going forwards, because obviously everyone watches everyone else. So,
Absolutely.
feel free, get stuck in, that I don't have copyright on this.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so apparently there was a meeting with Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden. I believe Kamala Harris was there.
Oh, yes, Kamala is right, yeah.
Kamala. And nobody really knows what it was about. It seems very mysterious. I know Marie did a reading on it, and and she wasn't even quite sure what to make of it. So I thought maybe we could pull some cards and see what this meeting was about. Why was she there? What was going on with all that?
Very interesting. Yeah, okay. I see if I can tune in a bit with Hillary. Because I know it was mentioned, but of course I'm here in the UK, so even when I've been looking online, there's not been that much said about it. So it'd be interesting to see what comes up.
Yeah, I couldn't do much research on it, but you know what? Sometimes that's best because it's a cold reading.
Yeah. Yeah, this is completely. I've got no idea. Some intuitive hits though. It was a very important. I think they really would have discussed some real, how can I say, meat and broth type things. Oh, this is quite interesting, some of the cards.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of like bigger cards than what I thought I would have gotten. So
what do you have?
Yeah, let's see here. So the first card I get is the Fool. So I'm going to say they're talking about something that's never been done before, something where they would have to take a leap of faith and trust in the universe.
Wow.
Their obstacle,
secret
agendas, hidden wisdom, things that the rest of us don't know, things that are concealed and behind the scenes. So that makes me really feel like, okay, this actually was like a clandestine sort of meeting.
I think so.
They're talking about leadership and power, who's going to be the emperor. They certainly must have discussed money. And, obviously a lot of money. This is a card of financial independence and financial affluence. And it's a real turning point. And it has to do with karma and destiny.
Cards.
So I'm just wondering, who's this leader they're talking about? It just makes me wonder if this maybe once and for all, they're going to say, well, she should have been president. And then what do you do from there? Because this has never happened in our history. So if there's information coming forward that Biden would have, that would be like the high priestess, that none of us would know about. And what if she actually did win the election and he can prove it?
Wow.
Imagine that.
Wow. Because I mean, there's already doubts. And of course, the logical conclusion of this, once it is kind of categorically proven that Russia did help, and Russia are practically saying it themselves anyway, with leaked documents and stuff like that. So once it's actually officially true, then of course, technically, Trump's term, as some other psychics have been saying, would be null and void. It would be null and void. And that would mean that Hillary would have been the de facto leader, because she did win the popular vote as well. Let's not forget
that. She certainly did. Absolutely.
She won the popular vote. So why, one day, I hope in America, one day, it just does it really nice and simple, where the one who gets the most votes wins. Yeah, that's how it is in most countries. Yeah,
wouldn't that be amazing?
Unrolling scrolls and certifying.
But see, the reason that we don't do that is because we are so afraid that the people in the cities who are educated, who vote liberally, they would always, because here's the thing, if it went by popular vote, a Republican would almost never get in. And so that's why they do it, because they want to give the more rural areas a chance too. But that's the only way the Republican Party exists nowadays.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand the logic, but I mean, you know,
But it makes no sense.
a few people in, a few people and potatoes in Idaho should not be swinging elections. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, do you know what I mean? It's like, at the end of the day, it's supposed to be the person with the most votes should win. And the way it's being manipulated and being skewed, the founding fathers never intended for it to be used in this way. This was never their intention.
I agree.
And it's such a shame. It's such a shame. But obviously my perspective is a little bit different, because I'm from the outside.
Right.
I'm from the outside of the UK. So what I get the magician, but reversed. So what this can suggest something clandestine as well.
Sure.
Because this is about power, isn't it? This is about power and how it's wielded. But we know already that this was a very private conversation. And I think they say that the magician card is the male equivalent of the high priestess.
Yes.
So it's that similar energy coming back again. What are they talking about? They're talking about wealth and abundance and all that kind of stuff. But for America, when I look at this, it's almost like, how can we use our influence, this secret knowledge that we have, or potentially something of a highly transformative nature? How can we use that in terms for like the American people? And then the next card I get, you can see there's been a bit of anguish over this. There's a bit of worry. There is an element of, and I think you might be onto something, Diane, because this is really big stuff. Like in your cards, you had a lot of major arcana.
Yes.
And you had the Wheel of Fortune.
Yep.
So if they're sitting on a bombshell, this is not something that they're going to just want to just throw out there. This is actually quite a big deal. And again, there's decisions to be made. So I think they've gone into the weeds about what to do with the information that's coming to them. Because the thing is, Biden almost certainly already knows. He almost certainly already knows, but he can't just say Trump, used Russia helped Trump. He can't verbalize it. But this card here is suggesting that, and along with your high priestess, is suggesting they already know something of real importance. But I think in the end, they're going to weigh up the investment. I think they're looking at it and they're probably pondering, wanting to see what will happen. It's almost like they're waiting for a return, because this is like deals with like a harvest, doesn't it? You're sowing the grapes and then you're wanting to see what the yield will be. And I think they're waiting to see what comes out in the wash, and they might be waiting for public opinion to change, because I think they understand that the populace is a little bit too rabid at the moment, still under the spell of Fox News. If we can imagine this as Fox News, you know what I mean? They're still very much under the manipulation of Fox News, and it's almost like that temperature needs to come down for them to be able to be in a place where they can be like, right, now the time is ripe to let people know. But I think Biden probably already knows, to be honest. And he's a Scorpio, double Scorpio. They know secrets.
Right, they're good with secrets. And I wonder if that's why I've always seen, like when people were getting so worried about things that, Trump was passing, like bills that he was passing, or putting in Kavanaugh or Amy COVID Barrett. And I'm like, I don't think it's going to matter. In the long run, I think everything's going to get reversed anyways. Like, it doesn't seem to matter, because when I did the cards, it never looked that bad. And it was like, somehow this stuff doesn't really matter in the outcome, like the long term. And so, I mean, we've never had this happen before. So if this actually is what happens, as far as I know, there's no protocol. I have no clue where we would go from here. This is like uncharted territory.
Yeah, yeah. It's literally like jumping off the cliff. I mean,
It's
in a way,
amazing.
the world in a way has become so used to like the Trumpy, Duck Laranges, dramas and stuff like that. We've almost become inured to it all. But it is worth remembering just how utterly extraordinary this situation is.
Truly.
I mean, it's literally, if the founding fathers weren't cast in stone on Mount Rushmore, they'll be spinning around, because
Right?
this is just, it's almost cartoonish, it's outlandish, but it's so dangerous as well. But one thing as
Oh
well,
yeah.
I'm sure you've noticed, did you see, of course you would have seen, one of the first people were convicted today of, was it today? Of being the trespassing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, recently, yeah.
Interesting, yeah. That's quite
I
interesting.
mean, things are certainly changing, but like I said, it's all unprecedented. I don't think our founding fathers really thought of any of this, but I don't think they ever imagined that one of our presidents would be a traitor either.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
And that he would be supported by his own so-called party. I've never seen such such compromise, such compromat. Really, compromat is the best word, because that is the Russian word.
absolutely.
It's just compromat, and people just brazenly lying, people brazenly trying to gaslight, to say that the insurrection, it was just tourists just passing through. It's just utterly disgraceful. I
How
mean,
do you
5
say
people
that?
died.
I,
It's
you
just,
know, and so many people were injured, and we know that some of those officers now have PTSD.
mm,
It's just awful. But imagine if this all gets reversed, all the truth comes out. 45 is going to be a loser, right? And to him, that is the worst thing, because he's a
yeah,
winner. And so that is, I would say it's going to damage his psyche, but it's already fairly damaged, right?
oh,
So I mean,
yeah,
it's just in degrees. So
yeah,
yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. So
yeah,
should we wrap this up by talking about August 13th? Because,
yes.
a lot of my viewers, have been writing in the comments and emailing me, because a few weeks ago, DHS, Department of Homeland Security, they wrote 2 warnings about what could be coming up about domestic
Mhm,
terrorism and about this, big lie that Biden
mhm.
didn't win, and these QAnoners on the 13th. And this is really all coming from the My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell, who
Oh,
started this. I mean, how did this pillow guy end up with this power? It is so bizarre. His pillows aren't even good, but okay. I mean, he has an F rating with the Better Business Bureau. I mean, he can't even figure out how to sell pillows right, but whatever. But he's saying that 45 is going to be reinstated and return to power and sit on his throne and be the second coming. And so people are worried because obviously our government is taking it seriously, because DHS has issued warnings. So is
there
there
has
something
to.
in the astrology that's going on around that time?
There is a bit. There is a bit. So, but what I see is this: is that, isn't that interesting? Look, the mercenary card is just sort of.
Mm.
I was just saw that at the base of the deck. So, okay, what's going on with the astrology? So, of course, as you guys will know, this is the USA Constitution chart. But what I've done is, like last time, I have looked at the date that you mentioned, and to see where the planets will be in August. And this is where I've moved them. This is the what's it called, the where I've kind of done them on tracing paper. Let me just move this a bit closer so you can see here. You're just going to see my head and face to the side, but I want you to see this. So what you can see, and let me turn this up, or no, down, so you can see, aha, voila. So here, of course, are the original natal placements of the planets, and these are the transitional ones. So this is the sun here. The sun is
Mm-hmm.
going to be in sidereal Cancer at the time, but the most important place I want you to look at is here, Leo. Now, there is Mars and there's Mercury. Now, remember, Mars is the planet of what? War, conflict, passion, desire. strategy, coming up with plans, even deals with things like medicine and all that kind of stuff. But essentially, it's passion, it's action, it's driving forward with something. Mercury is the mechanism of the mind. It is planning and strategy again, but it's also about organizing things. But it's also about communication primarily as well. Now, Mercury and Mars are not friends to each other. They're technically enemies. But what's really interesting is this. When I overlay Donald Trump's chart, you will see here that Mars and Mercury fall into his first house. And remember that Donald Trump has got Mars in his first house natally. So Mars is back with Mars in his first house.
Oh, man.
And it's there with the planet of communication. So Trump is going to be basically, this is as a term as we use, oh no, I can't even say it because it's a bit, I try to avoid naughty language, folks, when I'm on Diane's channel.
Yes,
I have to say this one. It means, but yeah, something or bust. Do you know what I mean? Something or bust. And it rhymes with hit, yeah? So that's what Donald is going to be feeling like. This is his last hurrah, because Mars he's having a Mars return now. It takes Mars approximately 2 years to go around the zodiac. So it's taken 2 years for Mars to come back into this position. And when Mars is in Leo, which it has just gone into, it went in, I think it was like yesterday, a couple of days ago. So Mars is in the sign of Leo, but as the weeks go by, it's going to heat up because Leo is a fire sign as well, but Leo is also the sign of leadership. It's the sign of the king. So Donald is going to be trying to prove to the whole world and his wife that he is king. Yeah, I am the king. I'm the rightful leader. God is with me, so to speak. Mercury, the planet of communication, is going to be there. So he's going to be talking about it to everyone, the whole world and his wife. He's going to throw everything, trying to convince everyone that he's king. Now, what's interesting is that because the Mars is going to be back here, you can see I've drawn in the drishti from before. So this is where Mars is going to be looking. So it's going to be looking at Donald Trump's real estate. Yeah. It's going to be looking at his 7th house, which is litigation, deals with litigation with open enemies, anyone that's not us. And Mars is also going to be looking at his 8th house, which is sex, death, and rock and roll.
Wow.
So really what we're seeing here, Trump is going to be going to extremes. Now, how many people turn up, we'll have to see. I'm not expecting, I think, look, basically the most pathological and the most cra will be there with their flags and their MAGA hats. Yeah. However, as the weeks go by, more and more people are going to be going to jail. So people are going to be hesitating a little bit because they're going to be like, if I support him, if I support my king, what's going to happen to me? So it could be a case of the emperor's new clothes as well, where Donald Trump puffs and puffs and he's trying to blow the house down, but we'll have to see. I mean, in a way, this positioning does empower him to an extent, in the sense of Mars is going to give him the energy to go for this big push, because it is coming back to his natal birthplace. Wow. But whether or not it succeeds, we'll have to see. But it does, this Mars will aspect the 12th house of the USA chart. Yeah, so this is the chart of the USA. 1, 2, because Mars's special aspect is 4, 7, and 8. So it will aspect 1, 2, 3, 4, 12th house, his hidden enemies, secret schemes and plans. Yeah, ooh, can also deal with things like domestic terrorism and stuff like that. But this isn't so secret because, of course, Trump is being very obvious about it.
Right, it's not secret.
It's not secret, and it also deals with losses as well. And Mars will be looking at Ketu. So this can also speak about violence too. So there could be some violence. Then Mars will be looking 7 places. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So Mars in the 9th house of the USA chart is looking at the 3rd house. And if we look here, look, it's the moon. And this is the media. This 3rd house represents the media, and Neptune is there as well. And Neptune is what? Deception. Jupiter will also be there. So Trump is going to be really ramping up the conspiracy theories to, if there was a level 10, he'll be going to 12. Yeah.
Right.
But, it's just bonkers. And then when we go to the 8th position, Mars will be looking at the homeland. Yeah. The 4th house of the USA chart. So basically, I think Trump is going to try and cause violence at home. How much he succeeds remains to be seen, but that's definitely what he's going to try. Trump is desperate. He is pathological.
He is very desperate. He has nothing to lose, and that's what makes him dangerous.
Nothing to lose. Nothing to lose.
Should we pull a few cards?
Yes, indeed. And like I said, he's going to be the most litigated man in history.
Yes.
And if he fails, which he is slowly but surely failing, it's going to be like a pair of worn out slippers. That's what I keep seeing. Chewed up by the dog and weed on by the cat. That's what it looks like to me. But we'll have to see. But he's really going to try. Remember, we must never underestimate this man. He is pathological, delusional, and desperate. He'll do anything to stay out of jail.
So desperate. Oh my gosh.
Let's read on this. August. I
just want to say thank you, Dolores, for your donation. We appreciate it. Oh, geez.
Thank you.
The first card I get. I mean, just what the heck?
Again.
And
August 13th. August 13th.
Well, I'm not getting any scary cards, that's for sure. But I mean, so just more of, him trying to get away with things. And when you're that desperate, what do you have to lose, right? I mean, because he's about to lose everything and then some.
He really is.
His obstacle's the magician. And, the thing with the magician is he wields his power very carefully, very intelligently. It's not by happenstance. And that sort of is 45's shortcomings. He really isn't good at what he does. He will throw power around, but he doesn't have the good sense that the magician has. And he's ungrounded, living in a fantasy world. And, I think we all know that. And where we're looking at this particular time period, and I would say I would include like that weekend too in this. We know that he's not grounded and he is delusional. This is going to involve his family, his legacy, his company's money. This is not just affecting him, this is affecting everyone around him. And then I am wondering if there's something judicial coming up with this. Like, are people going to try something and then they end up in court, just like the last time? But I'm, just to be clear, guys, I'm not seeing anything horrible. I'm not seeing anything apocalyptic but I just see desperate people and delusioned people doing crazy things.
Yeah. So if you see what have I got here? So in many ways, this kind of sums it all up. And I think I've pulled Trump's biggest fear, which is what? Ruin.
Sure. Right.
Yeah. This is a desperate man. He knows when it comes to this August time, and this is why he's believing this My Pillow guy. If I was having advice to Trump, I'd just be like, listen, just take a really giant big sleeping pill and just sleep for a very long time on one of My Pillow's things, because this is difficult stuff. This is what Trump fears. He fears destitution. He fears losing everything that he's got. And what's his approach? Or shall we say, well, what could possibly be the obstacle? But if we're looking here, for this date, he's having to summon what? All of his strength. Now, isn't it funny that Mars is in Leo, sidereal Leo? Here we see the lion. So this is Trump trying to muster his strength, his fortitude, everything he's got left to avoid this. Yeah. This is what he wants to avoid. He wants to avoid this. And he's like, right, this is it. I'm going to go gangbusters. This is my last chance. If I am not made king, yeah, what's Leo all about? The crown, yeah? Royalty. If I'm not made royal, you know, what's the point? But then we see, what's the next card? You see here, we see the 5 of Cups.
Yeah.
So we see there's loss. Yeah, I think he's going to jump himself up. He's like, come on, guys, we're going to do it. And I think it's just going to be a few kind of loony bins waving flags. Maybe, you know, I think there will be some violence. But again, I don't see it on this epic scale. Not like how it was with the whole thing, because they know people, those QAnon peeps, they know they're getting arrested. They know that they're being followed and all the stuff that's happened behind the scenes that we don't even know about. So I doubt he'll have that much support again. Really, what is Trump offering? Stinky fish.
Again.
Stinky fish is back. Yeah, so he's there. I'm the king, defend me, overthrow. And everyone's like, wah, wah, wah. Don't like the smell of this, yeah? And then what do we see? We see the Wheel of Fortune, yeah? But upside down. We see it's reversed, so the devil here is on top. Now, what's interesting, when I did a recent pull for Ivanka, she had it the right way round, yeah?
Oh, interesting.
She had it the right way round. For Duck L'Orange, we got it this way. So when we look at it all together, his luck, his fortunes are changing. Even though Mars will be in his first house of his natal chart with Mercury to give him power and encouragement, it's not, I don't think it's going to be enough. I don't think it's going to be enough. And because he has wasted so much political capital and he's caused so much trouble and so much pain to so many people, you really would have to be bonkers to go out for him again. You know what he should have done if he had any sense, if he was a sensible man at all? He should have said, you know what? I accept the result. I think it was dodgy. I accept the result, but I'll be back. He should have done an Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Sure.
Taken the loss and then just hurled his poison and whatever from the sidelines.
He's not a loser, though. He's not a loser. Just ask him.
Indeed. And you know, it would have turned out better for him. So I would say there's too many negative cards here for him to succeed. The Wheel of Fortune is turning against him, but my goodness, he's going to try his best. And those that follow him off the cliff, again, like lemmings, if they want to, will be the crazy of the crazies. But he's going to try his best, because what he faces is that ruin.
Exactly. And that's what makes him scary, is that desperation. He's going to lose everything, his fortune, his freedom. And I mean, it just makes him really dangerous. But at the same time, I like you, I'm not seeing anything apocalyptic. I'm not seeing anything that's going to really worry me. I think there'll be just some strange moments on the morning news.
Yeah.
That's how I'm looking at it.
Weird stuff. There'll be some weird stuff. I mean, he will try his best, and the stuff that he's going to be spewing that's coming out of his mouth,
nonsense.
We'll have to see who believes it. But if we can imagine, what's it, August 13th is a few weeks from now. Imagine how much higher the COVID cases and stuff are going to be in the red states by then. You know, it's
awful. It's getting awful here. I mean, we're getting, in the country in general, we're getting about 1,000 new cases an hour.
Wow.
So it's truly going back up. And like I was saying before we started, it's now getting into our nursing homes all over again, which is, you know, certainly worrisome, but, you know, we just all have to hang in there.
Yeah, we have to hang in there. And isn't it interesting? I think, I can't remember, was it in my last video, but a video I did recently, and I was looking at the full moon. Do you remember I was looking at the full moon? and it was in that exit that it was the sun was here and the full moon was over here, and that was the pattern. The sun and the moon were in the same nakshatra star clusters as the pandemic. I think I said it about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I said it will come back. I said that's the signature for it coming back. And there we are. And that also as well could be what affects because remember as well, we were talking about September and how I was saying Jupiter would be going back into Capricorn and there'll be some kind of correction, something going on in the economy. And we've been seeing, because of coronavirus, it's beginning to affect the economy. So we can see it's connected with the virus, it's connected with Trump and all this stuff. But, you know, so there will be some bumpy bits on the way.
Sure. For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think we just have to hang in over the next couple of months and, you know, we'll be okay. We'll come out the other side, but yeah, there'll be some moments of weirdness for sure. That I can tell. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I know it's late where you are, so I appreciate that. And thank you to the almost 1,000 people that came to watch. I mean, that's bad for a Wednesday night, you know? I mean, it's a work night and everything, right? So thank you, everyone. And thank you to everyone who donated. You know, I always appreciate it and share it. So, all right, everyone, have a beautiful rest of your week. Bye, guys.
All right. See you, folks. Bye-bye.